Hello and welcome to the Leicester Kitchen Show. We are on episode 4, and today got a really good topic. So this was from a conversation I've had recently with someone who was messaging me on Facebook, and kind of the premise for them was that my husband lost 19 pounds without trying. I've been dieting for 5 months and I've made no progress. So that's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to look at not just the tactical stuff of why that might be happening, but also the beliefs behind that, how that impacts you and how you view yourself, and how your identity is kind of shaped around this, around these challenges where someone is seemingly getting results without much effort, and you're putting your best foot forward, you're really trying, and you're not getting anywhere. So if that is something you're struggling with right now, if you are someone who has to really put some genuine effort into it and you aren't where you want to be, but you are frustrated, you're annoyed by people who seem to be able to just do it easily without any real effort and have the results that you want without putting in the work, then this is for you. You're going to learn some tactical stuff on how you can do that and make it easier and get better results, but also we're going to look at the big picture stuff as well behind that. So really excited for today's episode. If you are a fan of the show, if you're really enjoying it, make sure to like, subscribe, all those good stuff on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you listen to it on. And also the next step really is to request a free copy of my book. So I've wrote a book called Fat Loss for the Real World, and in it I cover the strategies that you can use and that my clients use to lose on average 2.1 pounds in the first 12 weeks. And then most importantly, continue that progress and keep the results that they get without having to resort to the crash diets, without having to spend all your time in the gym or do workouts you hate, and without having to feel guilty about having a chocolate bar or some fries when you go out for food. Ultimately, what we want to do is find a way that we can get results without it feeling like a diet or without it feeling like a brutal exercise plan. And the book is the best place to start. So you can buy it on Amazon if you want. It's on there. It's got almost 30 reviews at the moment, 4.9 star rating. Or if you want, you can request a free copy. I'll send it to you. You'll get an instant digital copy to your email. It's just leicesterkitchen.com/free, and you can request your free copy of my book. So yeah, let's dive right into it today. So what we're going to do is kind of cover that point. So my husband's lost 19 pounds without trying. I've been dieting for 5 months and made no progress. So if this is something that you're familiar with or you've been in a similar scenario, then really we understand that obviously that is annoying, because you want results and you've put the effort in to get something, and I mean you're hoping to get some results along the way. But what we want to also do is appreciate that people have different journeys. So what we're going to talk into is look into that a little bit more, and also identify how you can get results and kickstart those results if you're not where you want to be. So first of all, let's look at it as that husband and wife dynamic. So if you are comparing yourself to men versus women, I mean, generally it is going to be easier for men to lose weight. They are going to have more muscle mass. I mean, genetically we are going to retain more muscle and hold more muscle mass, which helps to improve our resting metabolism. Also as well, probably going to respond better to weight training. Now women can still respond really well to weight training, but men obviously genetically with that hormonal difference are going to have a tendency to respond better to weight training, and also as well, obviously hormonally there's obviously much more going on there, whether you are if you listen to this and you're a woman, if you are still going through your menstrual cycle, or if you are in menopause or post-menopause or whatever it is, there's obviously different hormonal factors in there versus for guys it's a lot more stable, and therefore that makes it maybe it makes it physically different. It does certainly have an impact, actually makes an actual difference in terms of your physiology, your body, how you respond, but also as well it has a big impact on the things that aren't physical. It impacts your mood. I mean, your hormonal cycle can have a big impact on your mood, and women may be more susceptible to those high and low moods during the month, high and low energy during the month, depending on where they are in their cycle, or if they're going through the menopause or post-menopause. There can be that different hormonal effect, which impacts your mood and energy levels, which makes it as a knock-on effect, indirectly, it makes it harder to stick to your diet. If you've got really low energy, you're more likely to crave the foods that we know we probably shouldn't be having. If you've got really low energy, then again, it's harder to get in the gym. It's harder to get out of bed in the morning and put in a workout if you feel like it's going to be a really tough workout. So there's that to always bear in mind if you're comparing yourself, and also a bigger picture as well, taking out the husband and wife scenario in this dynamic, just comparing yourself to other people in terms of this person's lost this weight and it doesn't feel like they've even tried, whereas I'm over here busting my ass and I can't get anywhere. Comparison is going to be a real killer for you, because two reasons, and I think this could be just for many things. Again, on the show, we want to take it away from just being specifically about fat loss, and also just look at maybe the bigger picture about life. So, you could look at success in family, in their relationships, and compare your success to people in careers and business or whatever it may be. And ultimately, everyone's got different scenarios, and they may have. You might look at someone who is doing in better shape than you and think that, oh well, they're not really trying, but you don't see what's going on in their 24 hours of their day, 7 days a week. You might see a scenario where you think, oh, this person's in great shape and they don't even try, and you might have that assumption because when you go out for food with them, they seem to just get whatever they want. They order whatever they want. They don't worry about the calories. They get dessert. They have a few drinks while you're sat there with a chicken Caesar salad and a Diet Coke, and you're pissed off because they're seemingly able to eat what they want without having it impact their health, whereas you are really trying and you're not getting where you want to get to. But what you don't see is potentially that person wakes up on a morning and does a home workout every morning for half an hour, or they track their calories throughout the day and the week, and they eat really well and kind of save their calories almost and bank them up for the times when they do go out, and then they can have a bit of a higher calorie day because it's counterbalanced, and ultimately they're at a net loss over the week for their calories, which means that they lose weight or they maintain their weight. So you've always got to look at, you don't see the full picture. So whenever you see someone who's doing really well and you kind of get a bit annoyed and frustrated because you want their results and it feels like they don't have to work as hard for you to get it, there might be things that are genuine in this scenario. The hormonal differences between men and women is a real thing, but you've also got the idea of there's lots of things that are going on behind the scenes that you don't see. Now, obviously, husband and wife dynamic, as this person who's messaging me, is probably a little bit different because they will probably be more aware of what that husband does for breakfast and lunch, as well as dinner and social events, and whether he trains in the morning or goes for a run at night or whatever it may be. But in general, if you're comparing yourself, you're not going to know that full picture for that person. And also as well, there might be just other things that are going on, like their life might just be set up in a way, whether they did that intentionally or whether they didn't, that just makes it easy for them to stick to their diet, or it makes it easy for them to get in the gym and train hard and exercise. You might be someone who has almost like the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you've got young kids. I've got a just turned 4-year-old daughter, Sophia, and I've got an 18-month-old son, Harry, 18-ish-month-old son, Harry, and that is very that puts a lot of demand. There's a huge commitment from me, and I absolutely love the pressure. It's a privilege for being a parent, but there is a genuine pressure like that. I know that maybe in 10 years' time, when they're 14 and 12 or 14 and 11, that the differences in the commitment required from me is going to probably be very different. Do you know what I mean? They're probably they will obviously be much more independent. They won't need me to help them get ready on the morning. They won't need me to help them make breakfast on the morning. They won't need to, they'll be doing their own thing. They'll be much more independent when they're at home, and they can go and play video games or read a book, or whatever they do. So there might be genuine situations in your life which make it harder for you versus someone else. So it might be that you've got young kids. It might be that you have a really demanding job. So when you clock off at the end of your shift, person A, who you're comparing yourself to, might be able to just switch off straight away. They have quite a low stress job, which means that they can kind of, as soon as they clock out for the day, they're done. and they can move their mindset onto whatever it is, whether that's fun stuff, whether that's stuff that's helping them stay in shape and exercise and eat better. But you might have a job that's really, really draining, and maybe it's something that you don't always clock off when you're meant to clock off. And when you do clock off, you are still kind of in that mental space of worrying about work, or you're just so drained from work that you don't have the energy, and it's much easier for you to order that Just Eat on the way home because you are just so fried. So again, comparing yourself to other people makes it very, very difficult, because you're always almost certainly going to lose, because there's either genuine differences in their life which make it either physically easy for them to lose weight and stay in shape, or indirectly it makes it easy for them to lose weight and stay in shape. Or the other one might be that there's just stuff that you don't see, like you just do not see things that they are doing, which helps them and get them the results that they want. So ultimately, comparison is going to kill you. And what you really need to focus on is what's working for you. So looking at your game, only you can manage this game, and it's you who is going to be the one who's getting the results. Because if ultimately we are comparing ourselves to others, we're just going to make it really, really hard. We're going to be setting ourselves up for failure with that. So husband who's lost those 19 pounds without trying, well done. Obviously amazing that he's got those results. And the best bit is if he genuinely hasn't been trying, then actually what we want to do is look at that and say, well, he's doing something right. Like what is he doing that allows him to get fantastic results without trying, quote unquote. And that's what I would love to do, and I try and do with every single client who comes on board, everyone I even speak to who maybe doesn't go ahead as being a client. But what I'd love to help people do is to be able to get results without feeling like they're on a diet, without feeling like they've got to go through this brutal workout plan and force themselves in the gym to do these grueling workouts that they hate. What I'd love to do is help people. What I love to do is help people who are getting results, almost feeling like they're not really trying that hard. Because what we can do if we can get to that point, if we build a strategy around you that fits your life and your social calendar and all the other good things, is that we can allow you to get results in the first 12 weeks. And on average, clients probably lose about 24 pounds, just a bit over 24 pounds. So give or take, you might be a little bit under, a little bit over, but ultimately in 12 weeks, you can have fantastic results. And the best bit about that is when you get to the end of those 12 weeks, those initial 12 weeks, that you can say, okay, well, I could quite easily repeat these 12 weeks again. And then the next 12 weeks, you might lose. Obviously, you might lose exactly the same. If you've got a big amount to lose, you might lose slightly less, because naturally it's going to slow down the closer you get to your ultimate goal. But if we can feel like, okay, well, I've just done 12 weeks of quote dieting and exercise, and it hasn't really felt like I've had to put in tons and tons of effort. It hasn't been a brutal ordeal. Then actually that's an amazing thing, because that means that I can just copy and paste this to the next 12 weeks and copy and paste this to the next 12 weeks. And I can copy and paste this for as many weeks as I need to get down to my ultimate goal. And then the best part is once you actually get there, maintaining is easier than losing. So then you can actually give yourself even more freedom. You can give yourself even more, you can reduce the time in the gym if you want to. You can stop tracking calories. Or just do them on certain days or whatever it may be. But ultimately, what we can do is we want to be able to get to a point where, just like the husband in this scenario, for the person who's messaged me, they get results without trying. And to do that, what we want to do is look at where you're at right now and build something around that. So for the husband in this scenario, that might mean that maybe he didn't even go to the gym. Maybe he was just he went for a walk on his lunch break. He had an hour lunch break. He decided to go for a walk for half an hour, and then he'd have a better lunch than he was having previously, and then he cut out some of the just obvious stuff like the junk and the snacks on an evening. Like maybe that's what he did, and that might not feel like that much hard work. That might feel like he's going to be able to do that without trying, and that might be all he actually needs. What people often do is they won't really look at where they're at right now. They won't really be aware. They won't really have that self-awareness to understand, okay, well, when I do this thing, it feels really difficult for me. It feels really clunky. I hate doing it. I don't enjoy it. And I just, as soon as I'm starting it, I'm thinking about when I can stop. If you don't have that awareness of what things are like that for you, then and you just pick a plan. You might do it off ChatGPT, you might do it off some influencer on Instagram, or you might find someone on YouTube. But ultimately, you're trying to just force a generic plan onto your life when your life, it's not going to fit. It's not going to fit. So what we want to do is look at where you're at right now and build something around that. And that moves us on to that next phase of the title for this show. My husband lost 19 pounds without trying. I've been dieting for 5 months and I've made no progress. So let's dig into that a little bit more. So the next thing we want to do for that is look into that. So if we've done 5 months of something and we've not made progress, then we obviously need to look at what's gone on, because regardless of what the husband's done, this person is not doing something that is working. I mean, you've tried something for 5 months and it's not working, then ultimately something has to change. Now, what I'd said to this person is, over those course of those 5 months, has it been a consistent 5 months? Or has it been a 5 months where you started off for 4 weeks, then you had 6 weeks off because you lost motivation, you give up on the gym, you stopped tracking your calories, whatever it may be. Then you did 2 weeks back on, then you did 3 weeks off, then you did 6 weeks on, then you did 2 weeks off, then you did 1 week on, then you did 5 weeks off. Over those course of those 5 months, have you gave it a really good, genuine go? And could you say that I've genuinely given this strategy a go for 5 months? Now, obviously, there'll be times when you don't stick to your plan. Like, no client that I work with, I expect them to be on it every single day. Do you mean there's going to be weekends where you go out for food, you're going out for drinks, you've got birthday celebrations, whatever it may be. So you're always going to have things that are like general ups and downs and little stops and starts. But over the course of 5 months, have we give it a genuine good go? Have we give this strategy, whatever it was, a good go? If the answer is yes, then we need to look at the strategy. If the answer is no, then again, we still need to look at the strategy, but we can't really blame the strategy too much, because we've maybe not just give it a try. But what we want to do is say, okay, well, if we've got 5 months in, the strategy hasn't been working and we've not been able to stick to it. So then we've got an adherence problem. We can't stick to the plan that we've set. So whether that's going to a slimming group, whether that's going for a park run on a Saturday morning, whatever the plan is, it's not working, because you can't stick to it. You can't stay consistently with it. So now you need to look into why that is. Now, is it a case of you're not tracking calories? Or is it a case that you don't like tracking calories? Is it a case that the foods you're having, you're not enjoying them? Is it taking you too much time to prep the meals? Is it mornings that you don't have time for food, but you're forcing stuff down that you don't like, that leads you to overeating on an afternoon? Is it that you don't eat much at all throughout the day, and then when you get home on an evening after a busy day at work, you are fried and you just eat everything in sight for 2 hours before bed? Like, what is the thing that's not working for you? And then build something around that to fix that. What we also want to do is look at the mindset behind that, because after 5 months of starting and doing something and feeling like nothing's moving, you're not making progress, what we've got there is potentially we are reinforcing a habit of, I can't lose weight. And the person I spoke to just in the DMs had kind of gone on to explain that, I mean, they'd done this for, I think it was 7 years. They said they'd been up and down and trying to lose weight. And that was kind of after they had the first child. And ultimately, which is very common, because that just totally disrupts your routine and changes your life entirely. So over the course of 7 years, they just gradually gained weight over the first 3. I think they mentioned 3 or 4. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then they'd been kind of stuck for the last 3 or 4 years. And over those 3 or 4 years, they'd had multiple bouts of dieting. They'd tried different things, just like, I mean, almost everyone I speak to, and probably yourself listening, if you've got this far into the show. So what that can do is build up a real identity around being able to lose weight. And that is also something that really needs to be unpacked and explored, because if I am going to be starting out on this weight loss journey, this fat loss journey, and I'm thinking that deep down I can't lose weight, or I can lose weight but I can't keep it off, if we really have that belief in our heart, we can oftentimes start off on an adventure towards the result, losing 5 stone, let's just say. But deep down, we know we're going to give up, and we know that we're going to reinforce this negative cycle where we stop, we lose a bit of weight. So we start, we lose a bit of weight, we lose our motivation, we fizzle out, we get overwhelmed, and we quit, and we regain the weight, if not with a bit of interest as well. So what we want to do is look at also that identity, and that's going to be one of the biggest challenges along the way. And the ways that we can really do that are to, one, try and understand, and again, that's why I keep talking about the strategy so much, is if we look at the strategy and we really understand ourselves and how we responded to that strategy, and then we create a new one moving forward that addresses those weaknesses, when we start on day 1 and get to day 7 and day 14, there's a reason for us to believe that it might be different. So what I mean by that is if you've been to Slimming World 4 times and you've lost weight, but then you've regained it back on, and then you've quit for a few months, and then you go back, and then you've lost a bit of weight, regained it back on, and quit for a few more months, and you've done that cycle 4 or 5 times, then if you're just going to start that again, there's no reason, and you know this deep down, there's no reason that will be different. Now, you can say that, okay, well, I'm more motivated now, or whatever it may be, and that might be true, but ultimately there's nothing really you can point to say, oh, well, this is going to be different because. And if we can't say to ourselves, okay, well, I've tried this thing 4 times, but this time it's going to be different because X. If we can't say that, then deep down we know, we almost know that it's not going to work, and we're going to get some short-term gains maybe, but ultimately we're not going to be able to stick to it. So what we want to be able to do instead is say, okay, I've tried these things, this one thing, or I've tried multiple things over the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, 7 years in this person's scenario, and I have really struggled with A, B, and C. And it might be, I really struggle with prepping my meals because I really struggle with time, because I've got 2 young kids, I've got a really demanding work, I've got busy social calendar, whatever it may be. And that's one of the reasons why I found it hard to stick to it and get results long term. So if we're aware of that, and we are willing to be vulnerable and humble enough to say that I've struggled with this, rather than just blaming our metabolism or blaming the circumstances or blaming we're going through the menopause or blaming that we have too busy a job. If we actually look at how we identify, well, I struggle with this, and this time I'm going to fix that by doing A, B, and C. So that might be by using protein shakes as a quick, easy, on-the-go way to get my protein intake up. That could be belief 1. That could be a real, genuine reason, number 1, why this time might be different. Because in the past, you were trying to eat fresh. You were like, oh, no, processed food's bad for me. So you're trying to cook fresh chicken and fresh fish. And you're cooking mince and you're having eggs on a morning. And ultimately, that could be great. But you don't have the time for that every day. You might have it on some days, but some days you also probably don't. So the protein shake now fixes that problem for you. So I can start to look at this and say, okay, this time round, I have this solution to the problem that stopped me the last 4 times round. Another one might be that, hey, I've on a night after I work, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, I work until late on those days for whatever reason, and I get in and I'm just wiped out. And previously, again, I'm in the mindset of I need to cook everything fresh and healthy. And also, I need to be entertained by every meal. It needs to be an interesting meal. Otherwise, I get bored of it. If that was the problem before, it might be that, okay, well, the solution to that problem is that I have ready meals in the freezer. Now, ready meals aren't going to be the best, but they might help you stick to your calories, and you can get obviously some that are better than others. Another one might be that, hey, I get like meal prep. I get meals, like meal prep companies. There's loads of them out there. Generally they're more expensive, but they might be a bit fresher. You might enjoy them or whatever it may be. But I might be able to point to that as, okay, well, this is the second solution to the problem that I had the last 4 times. And then the next one might be well, like, I mean, I go to these groups, but I don't really do any exercise. Like, I have a gym membership and I have for the last 10 years, but I probably rarely go. And when I do go, I'm just pottering around the gym and I don't know what I'm doing. And I just randomly jump on whatever machine's free and I'll do 10 of these, and then I'll go to the next machine, and then I'll do 10 minutes cardio on the treadmill, and then I'll do 10 minutes on the bike. And it's just random, and it's not really, it's movement, but it's not really a good quality exercise session. It's not really a good proper workout. And therefore, this time it's going to be different because, do you mean I'm going to go in with a really clear plan? I'm going to prioritize weight training. I now know how to lift. I know how it should feel like. I know how hard I should push myself. I have a strategy. I have a workout plan for if I've only got time to train twice a week. I've got a workout plan for if I've got time to train 4 times a week. I've got a workout plan to train if I can't get in the gym and I've only got 15 minutes on a morning with some dumbbells I've got at home. I have now a really clear plan of what exercise can be and what it should be. And ultimately, that means that now, looking at those 3 things, the protein shake, the ready meals or the meal prep, and then some real structured quality, high quality weight training. Now I have 3 solutions to the biggest problems that wiped me out the first 4 times round. And by doing that work, and that's really something that I do with people who initially speak to me before we even decide whether to move ahead as working together. I'll sit down with people and give them time and do it one-on-one, and we'll look into all these things and we'll come up with like what are the biggest things that stopped us in the past and what are the biggest things that are going to help us moving forward. And that ultimately is so powerful because on a practical level it addresses the issues we've had in the past, but also on an emotional identity belief level, a really higher consciousness level, we now have a genuine reason why we believe this can be different because of these 3 things that we're going to put in place, which derailed me the last time. So if you are someone who has tried for the last 5 months and nothing's changed, or you've had multiple bouts like this person had, and the last 5 months is the last good go that they've had at it, if that's where you're at, then you need to have a genuine reason why it can be different, and that's ultimately where you want to start with there. So if you are in that scenario, that's where I would start, and that's where I would start with all people really, because ultimately after 5 months of putting some effort in, and I mean not being 100%, but I mean generally I'm pretty much on. I mean, most weeks I'm doing pretty well. Then we should be seeing some really visible change. In 5 months, we should be seeing fantastic changes. So what's that? 5 months, 20 weeks. I mean, should be looking at, even if we go on a conservative pound a week, we should be looking at, I mean, a really good 1.5 stone off by that point, and that's ultimately, you're going to definitely notice that. And then also what happens then once we get some momentum built is we can really get flying with that, we can really get rolling with that. And once you have that built into your you can see the results, it's much easier to stick to. So that's really where I would start with that. So remove the comparison, stop comparing yourself to other people, because 1, they might have genuine reasons why it's easier for them, or 2, there might be things that they do which make it easy for them that you don't see. They might actually be putting in lots of effort and you think it's easy for them. But ultimately, even if they are finding it easy, then ultimately it doesn't really help you. Them getting results without having to try doesn't really make a difference to you losing weight or not. What really makes a difference is understanding yourself and what you struggle with, and fixing stuff around that and building strategies around that. But at the same time, being honest and open to the fact that, hey, I might not be doing it I might not be giving it my best shot, or I might not be willing to be humble enough to say that, hey, I've tried this for 5 months and it's not worked. Like, where am I going wrong? Like, what are the strategies that I'm using that aren't right for me? And looking to build on something from there. So that's really where I would go with in terms of if that's what you're struggling with, and that's the advice I gave to that person earlier today. Sorry, in the DMs. But really, from a personal perspective, I think that comparison can be really difficult, and that's something that I've struggled with. I started coaching in 2014, and doing from my perspective, from a physique perspective, I've never been absolutely massive, which a lot of people that I might see on social media are. Whether they're natural or not is a different thing. But ultimately, I can very easily look at people and say, "Oh, do you mean they're in much better shape than I am?" And they genuinely are. And that's something that can be a real difficulty. There's also as well comparison to yourself in previous form. So when I was kind of doing my first bout of coaching when I started in 2014, do you mean I was early 20s? I do you mean lived at home with my mum? I didn't really have any responsibilities, didn't really have any bills. Do you mean I was enjoying the coaching, but also do you mean I was loving training? I was loving all the meal prep Sunday and all that nonsense. And ultimately my life was set up to be in shape, and I was in good shape. I was never absolutely shredded six pack, but I was in good shape and I felt good. And then fast forward to after we had our daughter, and shifting to being a dad, and that ultimately kind of led me to a point where I was kind of out of shape dad, really. And I didn't gain like 3 stone and wasn't terribly out of shape, but for me, and certainly from my mindset of I'm a coach and I've helped people lose weight and get in really, really good shape, like I was comparing myself to where I should be, and that was difficult because ultimately I wasn't where I wanted to be. And people from the outside might have looked at me and thought, "Hey, still in all right shape," but that didn't really matter because to me, I was comparing myself to the mid-20s, early 20s, where I was in the gym 6 days a week and loving it, and I had all the time in the world, and diet was something I really loved to focus on. Whereas fast forward to when I'm now a dad, I don't have that time, and I also don't want that time. I don't want to be in the gym 6 days a week, spending an hour and a half in a gym session. I want to be where I'm at right now, where I can train maybe 2, 3, 4 times a week, maybe 45 an hour at a time, depending on what I've got on, depending on family needs and business needs and social events that I've got going on, and that I dial it up and down as I go. But at the time when I was kind of in my out of shape era, I was struggling with that because I was thinking, hey, I should be doing better. I should be doing better. And that's just the same as this person who was messaging me is comparing themselves to the husband. They're comparing themselves to someone else. And you can be comparing yourself externally, or you can be comparing yourself to yourself at a different time period. And either way, it's hard. You're going to lose. You're going to lose if you're comparing yourself. What you need to do is think about where you are right now and look at what you can do right now to move in the right direction. And ultimately, after a period of time, after Sophia was born, I had that struggle of becoming kind of an out of shape dad. And it took a little bit of time. It definitely took some time for me to mentally adjust to, okay, well, I have to be okay now with maybe not being in as good shape as I used to be, but I can still be in really good shape. And I actually now probably, like I said, Sophie was 4 on Tuesday, so I've had obviously a bit of time to adjust to that. But after kind of when she got to about 1, I'd kind of made that adjustment in my life, and I'd mentally adjusted, and now I'm probably in the best shape I've ever been. Even though I've got less time to train, even though I am fully present with my family when I'm there. I'm not thinking about the gym. I'm not thinking about my diet. When we go out for stuff, I can enjoy the food that we have out. When we have a really busy week, I don't feel bad because I've not been in the gym every single day or 5 days a week. And ultimately, what I've done is adjusted. I've killed that comparison to the former me, and that could be you killing the comparison to your friend that you see on Facebook, or the other people in your slimming group, or the other people in the gym. Just kill that comparison and just focus on you, and just work on, hey, like, what's the best I can do this week? And also try and play it as you go as well, because some weeks will be easier than others. Some weeks you'll have less on, some weeks you'll have more on, some weeks you'll have more capacity in terms of your energy and your energy levels, your stress levels, your sleep levels. You might have more. You might have little niggling injuries, especially I train clients in the kind of 40s and 50s typically. And generally, you can be starting to pick up aches and pains there. Knees, hips, back can start to get a little bit sore, and over time you do pick up little niggling injuries, and that might mean that you really struggle with training some weeks. And you have to, again, you can't compare yourself to when you were 20 and how you could train then when you're now 50 and you've got arthritis in your knees or whatever it may be. So ultimately what we want to do is look at where we're at right now, build that strategy around it, and just look at how can I improve, how can I keep moving forward. And that's what worked for me, and that's what I put into the book as well, because a big part of the book is it's not so much 7 foods to help you lose your belly. There's definitely sections in there which talk about that, and probably half of the book is talking about mindset and how to stay in the game, because that's where people really struggle. So if you've enjoyed the show, hopefully you've really enjoyed the show, like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. And I'd invite you to either buy a copy of buy a book off Amazon. Just search Leicester Kitchen. That's certainly Google finds me pretty easily with such a unique name. But yeah, either Google me, find the book on Amazon, or if you want, go to leicesterkitchen.com/free, and I'll send you a free digital copy by email. Just put your info in, you get a digital copy immediately by email, and that's going to be something that's going to really help you out. It's going to talk about, it does have some things in there like the tactical strategies, what's really, really important, but also it talks about the mindset element to it, and that's a big part of it, and why people struggle so much to lose weight and keep it off, and why ultimately we want to be able to get results when we've not in the past, and how we can do that, and also how we can do that without the extreme. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go there, request a free copy of the book, and you can get a digital copy sent to you instantly, and that'll really, really help you out. So hope you had I hope you really enjoyed the show. If you listened this far, thank you so much. Like I said, what we're going to do is I'm going to do one of these every week. In terms of this week, what's been really busy for me, so just the last few days have been absolutely crazy. So I've had probably the busiest time that I'm gonna have all year, and it's been an amazing time. So I had radio on Big Weekend on Sunday, that was in Sunday, that was amazing. Went to see probably the best one there was Miles Smith was really good, lots of like high up tempo, upbeat festival songs. But then Dermot Kennedy was amazing, absolutely amazing voice. So if you do get a chance to see him live, like I listened to a few of his songs before, but actually seeing him live was definitely a different level, incredible. And then Monday was my daughter's birthday, so Sophia, she was 4 on Tuesday, but we had a birthday party on Monday, so it was like getting prepped for that, and we had lots of family and friends over, and it was beautiful weather, and it was just an amazing day. Tuesday was Sophia's birthday, so we went to an aquarium in Hull called The Deep. We've been there last year. And it was really good. So it was really good. Nice long drive in the car, keeping with a 4-year-old and 1.5-year-old. But it was good. It was good, and definitely an amazing day there. And then yesterday was mine and Emily's 5th year wedding anniversary. So we went to Gisborne, where we got married 5 years ago, and we had some tea and a nice scone and quite a cream and jam. That was definitely a favourite for me. And then we went for food out, and then we watched a film last night. It was really good, nice. It was just nice chill time. But basically, yeah, the last 4 days have been absolutely packed. And if you follow me on social media, I'll be sharing some stuff over the next few days about how we'll kind of manage that, because ultimately, obviously, all those scenarios generally involve lots and lots of food and not much time in the gym, and it can be very easy when you're in those scenarios to just think, oh, screw this, like I'll start again after the 6 week holidays, or I've ruined it now, I might as well just go all out. And what tends to happen is people just completely go off the rails, and what we want to do is be able to enjoy the times and not feel guilty for having doing a nice burger and fries and a nice drink at the pub yesterday, which was really nice, but actually be able to enjoy it and not feel guilty about it. And of course, if we have more food when we get on the scales the next day, we're going to be up a few pounds, but also be comfortable in knowing that, hey, do you know what I mean, that's fine, like that's what life's about. There will be times when I gain a little bit of weight, and that's okay. That doesn't affect me as a person. I'm still the same person I am, just a few pounds heavier. Probably not going to see it. You might feel a little bit sluggish, but generally all I need to do is get back into the rhythm, just the normal rhythm. Don't have to go overboard or punish myself or like earn back the calories that I've had. And within a few days, I'm probably back to where I was to start with, and I feel recharged and I've had an amazing time. So that's really where I like to live, and that's where I like to help clients get to. And I'll be sharing some stuff over social media about that and how I've done that, and how you can also do that moving forward as well. So follow me on Instagram, Facebook if you're on there. Next week for the podcast, I'm going to go back to part 2 of the Life Lessons podcast. So that was something I did last time. If you didn't listen to that, check that one out. That was really good. But basically, I just turned 34, and I kind of wrote down some of the biggest life lessons along the way, not just related to health and fitness, or some bigger picture stuff as well, and things that can, I think, are really core principles and things that will really help you out if you are kind of not where you want to be right now, and you are struggling. Certainly not saying that I know everything, or that I've cracked the code for health, fitness, business, or family, or whatever it may be. But I'm very happy where I am right now, and progressing at where I am right now. And ultimately, I just wanted to share some of the kind of life lessons that I've learned along the way, and hopefully that'll be of value to you. So if you didn't catch the first episode, check it out. And next week I will be doing part 2 of that, which I think will probably be a 3-parter mixed up, and I'll break that up over the next month or so. But yeah, if you've enjoyed the show, fantastic. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And if you want to request your free book, Fat Loss for the Real World, you can get it off Amazon, buy it off Amazon if you want, or you can request a free copy, leicesterkitchen.com/free, and you get a digital copy instantly to your email. It's a real book, packed with stuff that's going to really help you if you want to lose weight, keep it off without all the extremes and crazy diets and brutal workout routines. So have an amazing rest of your day, wherever you are listening to this. And if you do need anything, just drop me a message. If you do see anything on social media that you would like me to cover, any kind of hot topics, any news articles that you see, anything, any kind of controversial stories that you kind of think, oh, okay, that's interesting, fire them through. I'd love to kind of do them as, not necessarily a reaction video kind of style, but it is cool to certainly talk about things that are popular right now and are hot topics, because oftentimes there is a good lessons that we can learn from those when we talk it through. And just like I've done today, we'll dig deeper into the real stuff behind it, not just the surface level tactical stuff that obviously is important, but at the same time isn't going to make or break it. So yeah, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you on the next show.